going to be working on the electronics of the helmet right now. Well, that's the final primer is curing, so figured, might as well knock out some more stuff. So here we have a LiPo battery charger. Get these on Amazon for like $5. They use these type of connectors, which are XH 2.54mm connectors. Now I have the male and female variant, so I could do different plugs. Thank God this just slips. Wait, uh oh. I got the wrong ones. There are two ways to go about this. I could get mad that I ordered the wrong stuff, or I could adapt and overcome. So there's only two prongs on this, so that I know that there's a positive and a negative wire on the inside of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this about here. I'm going to save this plug because it might come in handy later. Now I have just the cord with an end on it. As you can see in here, there's two wires. So let's take our snippers. There we go. So now, green and white. So if I'm right about this, white is red and black is green. So what I'm gonna do, got a little screw cutters because you can use them for just about anything. Don't do this at home. How you get bad teeth. Now that we have that uncovered, let's use one of these instead, so that way we can keep all of our platforms the same. Just stripping the ends of the wires down. Alright, so what we're going to do is before we solder it, we're just going to transfer this over. And now they're connected. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to bring them out a little bit, see if they're an even length, which they are. If you're wondering, I have no clue where my fine solder is, so we're going to have to use this stuff until I find more. We're waiting for the soldering iron to heat up. Let's tell you our plan. So this helmet comes with 4 light slots. So what we're going to do is we're going to wire up 3 of them with white LEDs, and the 4th one is going to be red. I asked the customer, he said, yeah, that sounds great. His exact words. So what we're going to do is what we're going to do. Also, he wanted a toggle switch instead of the standard button switch, as he wanted a dongle. If anybody gets that reference, you guys are the real G's. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this out, put the rest of it in there, and we're going to close this back up and put it away so that way it's not in the way. Yeah, it comes with a backing plate, a nut, a washer, and this little sleeve that we're going to pull off, just like that. It's always good to have extra wire on you whenever you're doing any soldering work, so that way you can always trim it back down and you don't have to worry about it being too close and melting all your wire, melting all your insulation. I'm in no means a professional at this, but I've done a few RCs here and there. Alright, those are both soldered up. Well, I still have the soldering iron hot and ready. We are not sponsored by Little Caesars. So we have this battery right here. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the tape, the Teflon tape off of this. Don't worry, we're going to be putting a new layer of insulation on top of it to replace it. Wish I had some flux wick right now, but I don't have it right now. Solder wick, not flux wick. So we're just going to do this heat and drag method that my dad taught me. Well, I kind of watched him do it, he didn't really teach me. Alright, so what we're going to do actually is we're not just going to have these wires, we're also going to have 2 more wires coming off the terminal, so that way we don't have to tie in later. So we're just going to use the extra wire from this. 1, 2, approximately the same. Alright, so what we're just going to do is we're just going to heat that up. And then, because the system's all the same, we're just going to tack this on there as well, and it slid off. Not the cleanest solder I've ever done, but it will definitely hold. Alright, let's do the black wire now. Alright, so that's all soldered up. You get a nice little closer look to it. Now what we're going to do is, instead of setting it down on a metal component that can cause it to short, we're going to set this down. And then we're going to line up our components. While this is still uncovered, let's trim this down. Now, hindsight's always best when thinking about stuff like this, because you just realize how stupid you really can be. Because I forgot to put sheathing on this. Cause it short. So we're gonna have to cut these and redo them. Now, before we forget, let's put some sheathing on these wires. Alright. Let's slide this bad boy on over these. And down. And then we're also going to do the same on this side. Do a twisty woo right there. Back on this one. Like I said, making mistakes is the problem. The problem is what you do with those mistakes. Just gonna slide this sleeve on over until it comes down below. Then I'm just gonna take the edge of our soldering iron, our flat. Don't use the tip because it'll burn straight through it. Alright, what we do now? So now those are completely covered. We're going to take this extra bit that we had on there. We're going to bring it up to cover this corner right here. We'll squeeze these two together and do a little bit of twisting. Get them up and over. Up and over, I say. The entire reason we're doing this is making sure system's waterproof, because he's going to be at a con and stuff gets spilled and all that jazz. And there you go, one new charging system. I know this isn't technically electrical tape, but it'll have to do for right now because I cannot find any for the life of me. Let's turn, wrap it like a taco. If anybody's wondering where I get these batteries, I get them used actually. There's a company at my job that uses these little thermometers, and when they're done with them, they throw them away. Well, these thermometers have these nice little LiPo packs in them, and they just get thrown away all the time, so yeah. Alright, so there's our battery pack. Not the most neat thing I've ever done, don't worry. It's going to be much better. So because I love modular things, and I know the customer loves modular things too, I'm going to set this up so that way it can be taken apart and repaired, so the entire system doesn't have to be removed. Actually, why did I do that? You see, this is why you got to think before you act. Because I'm just going to clip this wire here, and this one, let's clip up here so that way they don't connect. The system can just run off the same connector like that, instead of having more than two wires plugged in, like RC Car does. Well, they have separate wires, but that's for charging, and that's kind of a necessity on those multi-cell LiPos. But yeah, alright, let's branch this one off into two different outputs. So first we're going to do the switch. Now, switches, you don't have to necessarily orient them in any certain way because it's a simple on-off switch. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to feed them backwards, quote-unquote. So that way there's still one black and one red. We're just going to throw a quick sleeve on there. We're going to daisy chain it all. So with these two right here, these pins, I'm just going to push them together, give them a couple twists. I should just be able to tack them because they're pre-soldered. And that's all they needed. Now they're hooked together. Now we have a concurrent system. A series is the proper term. Then we're going to do black to black. Pinch, twist. And the same thing with the red to red. Like I said, I'm in no means a professional. If anybody has got any tips or tricks in the comments, let me know. I would love to learn from people that have done it. So we're going to take more of this insulation and we're just going to make little nubs out of it. Alright. And there is our switch setup. I know it looks convoluted, but it's actually not that convoluted. So when the switch turns on, it's going to open this entire circuit. As you can see, it's an actual, come off there, circuit. There are no crossing paths. So it's either the entire circuit is on or off, depending on, you know, how you want to roll. Instead of series, we're going to run these ones in parallel. Now, this is a lot of extra wire. We don't need this much wire for this project. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring it down about here. This much. We just need it to fit and plug inside there. Oh yeah, these are the LED brackets for inside the helmet. This one's for the right. So this one is the left. I cut it off a little bit shorter just to make it fit a little bit better inside the housing. So in series means it's in a circuit, right? It's one right after the other. In parallel means that they're tied into the same positive and negative. So because I know it's going to bend, I'm not going to be doing a straight throw. Instead, I'm going to be having them tie in and crimp. We're just going to do a quick test. Oh, right. Let's just plug this in to A. Let's plug this into B. Oh, there we go. It was just backwards. I had it plugged into the wrong port. So, what we're shown is, I'm not exactly the brightest bulb in the bunch, but I can light up a pretty bright bulb myself. So let's get a Sharpie and mark these before I forget. This blue is going to be battery. Just going to mark that. Black is going to be the first. The left side. In fact, I'm just going to write a little L. And then the red is going to be the right side because there's going to be a red light going on that one. Now we have the left side. Right bracket. Battery. Helmet. So what we're going to do is, this is going to come down here. These are going to go over this way, and the battery is going to come right here. It may look a little convoluted, but it's going to get cleaned up before it goes into the helmet. Oh, one more thing I forgot to talk about for the helmet. This comes out of an old Bluetooth headset that I had destroyed. The charger port had gotten trashed, so we're just going to add a new charger cord and a new charging system. Snip this old charger off because, well, it's not needed anymore, so we're just going to take that old one off. And there we go. It's all set up to be charged. And there we go. I'm going to design a few buttons for the side of the helmet so that way he doesn't have to slip his hand under. So he can just press comms and talk. So this is all we have for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and remember, if you can think it, you can dig it. Have a nice day.